Well, this is, I think, since I've been doing this here with more of the technology stuff just this last year with wonderful COVID, I think more and more we realize, or at least I've realized, I think I assume more about maybe my parents or my grandparents' life, especially their faith journey. I think I assume more things about it than I actually know. And so with you and Uncle Les being in the area, I thought, what a great time. Let's grab you guys. And a couple days ago, I thought, why not grab the preacher that that knows these families and these stories. And so primarily want to talk about Grandpa Ladd and certainly a little bit about Grandma Mimi. And I think we'll try to take it chronologically. And
we'll never get done chronologically.
well,
you don't want that.
So, and I've expressed to the rest of the cousins too, some questions. I think Amy had a few questions, and we'll get to those too. And but faith primarily, but I think a little bit too of just life and of work. Again, stories that we know, but I think with Dad being passed away, you just go, oh man, I wish I could ask.
Knew this, ask
right?
that.
I wish I knew, or could get some clarification about something. And so, I just thank you for taking the time, really, for just to be a blessing to our family. And so I don't know how many other people.
So we could say a few things about your dad.
We're going to get there. We're going to sneak some things in. You're going to tell us the stories about the two boys that got brought into this Lewis clan.
Oh.
So, but that's okay. So, I think too, one of the things we look at Scripture, especially in the Old Testament, you see Moses say this, you see Joshua say this, right? So you set these stones up so when your kids ask, what are those for?
Yeah.
Right? You go, there's the story.
Yeah.
And so I think some of those things as well. So tell me about Grandpa Ladd. I mean, do you know where he started did he grow up in a Christian home? How did he come to Christ? Do you know?
I don't know how his family was raised, but they might have been in a church in Cass. But Mom and him were Methodist early on.
Okay.
And then R.J. Kidwell is the one who came and baptized Dad
Okay.
at the Vandalia Church. And I don't know how old he was then. He was in his 20s or 20s, I'd say.
I would say
he
20s.
baptized Mom and Dad.
Oh, did he? Okay.
So
All right.
that's how they became in Church of Christ.
Okay.
Vandalia.
Cool.
Because I was sprinkled as a kid. I was sprinkled as a baby.
Oh,
were you?
okay.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, so it was after I was born.
All right.
Yeah.
So Grandpa Ladd grew up in Vandalia then?
Cass,
Or in
Cass,
Cass?
in Cass, the whole family.
They grew up on the farm or in town?
In
or?
town,
Yeah.
Did they?
by the
Okay.
business.
And he was the youngest of three boys. There was a sister.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were all in the well business.
They were, okay, so his dad had already been doing
Yes,
Yes.
and
the
his
well
grandpa.
drilling. So he,
100 years.
at
in
least
that
third
family.
generation well driller.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
I'm learning things.
Yeah, see, that's why we're doing this, right?
They'd
Exactly.
been in the family
We'll
100
get to
years.
what we know.
Yeah. To search my memory here.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Well, that's good.
Another thing I always admire about Dad, he never graduated from high school. He never did.
Really?
I think he either went into the business with his dad or he went into the Army.
He was in that.
He was in the Army, but I'm not sure what
Which
year it
one?
was.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll maybe
But
jump
he-
around here just a little bit. So he did join the Army. World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, okay.
But he didn't go overseas. He was right, here in the United
He
States.
was guarding prisoners,
yeah,
as I
Fort
remember.
Leavenworth, Kansas.
Yeah.
Fort,
That's what he
okay.
was doing.
And so that was the red and white sailing ship,
Yes.
right? This
Yes.
is the story I
Yeah.
always remember,
Yes,
that there
so
was
that-
some prisoner of war
Yeah.
that had kind of cobbled that together
I
through.
have that.
You do.
Yeah.
Well, I think Jenna's got it
Jenna's
now,
got
but
it
we
now,
need to
yeah.
do some restoration
It's really
work on it.
cool.
Yes.
Wow.
One of these days when I have
Yes.
time, don't know what to do with myself. But.
Be a while.
So he was
Yeah.
stateside then,
Yes, he
Yeah.
was.
never overseas.
No. Uncle Wilbur got overseas, but not Dad.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
Where did Uncle Wilbur? We'll take a quick
He
little.
was in France or something. He was a driver for somebody, a general. I wish he'd been here because he could have told you stories.
Okay.
Yeah, about
And
Dad.
typical, he would be a driver, as any Lewis. They drove fast.
But he could
So-
tell you stories about Dad.
Yeah.
Yes, they drove fast.
You have your experience.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
your experience.
The fastest trip I ever took to Lansing was with their dad. We went to a gun show. We got to Lansing, the gun show was at the Civic Center, except we were a week early. He got the dates wrong. I didn't know that. He got the dates wrong. He had that Oldsmobile.
Oh, yeah.
And Yep, that's the fastest trip I ever made.
Oh my goodness.
Believe me.
Just hold on.
Yes, yes,
So let's go back to Mimi just for a second. So now, where did she grow up in Vandalia?
yes.
On the
So
farm.
she grew up in Vandalia. Grandpa Lad grew up in Cassopolis, and so she grew up on the farm.
Yes.
Now, were her folks Christian?
No, I would not
think
say
not.
so. No, I don't think they went to church.
Really?
I don't
Okay.
think they went.
Interesting.
I have to show you the house. It's right on M60 where they got married. Mom and Dad got married in their farmhouse.
Oh, did
And
they?
It's still there by Elk
Yeah.
Park. It's up
Oh.
on the hill and it's got all those.
Where Russell
Bushes.
lived?
No, it's
No.
where he,
Other
no,
side.
where Mom grew
In
up.
Vandalia.
Oh, okay.
Would be as you're going into Vandalia from here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's where they got
So they
married.
got married out the house. So not at either of the churches.
No, no,
But
just
they
a
were-
family thing.
But they now was she baptized also at the Vandalia church?
By
then?
RJ.
Yeah.
By RJ. So
Yeah,
they both of them.
same
okay.
time. Yeah.
You wonder
So
how the
what
connection
year-
came to RJ.
I don't know either.
I
RJ
wonder
might
how
have
that
been.
came.
RJ was here in the early 50s, like 51, 52.
Okay.
Wow.
Something
That makes
like
sense because
Yeah.
I would have been
So what year did the congregation move out to this building?
70.
1972,
In
72.
72.
Yeah.
Okay. And when did you arrive as the preacher?
1967.
Oh, okay.
My senior year in high school.
You did?
That's
Okay.
right, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Now
So-
Wilbur came to church as well.
Early.
Good.
And Grandpa Orr did too.
Yep.
As
Okay.
an older person.
Right.
Yeah.
He did. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, he
Okay.
did.
Oh, where do we want to go from here?
Let me
Trying
tell
to-
you real
Yeah,
quick,
tell-
since
yeah,
when
please.
we're talking about speeding. Uncle Wilbur, did I tell this already? I don't think-
No.
You might know, but he had picked me up in Dowagiac and we were going, I don't know, over your place or something. So, he wanted me to drive his big old car, and whatever. So, but anyway, we start and then I get going like I'm coming into Vandalia or whatever, but he kept going, how fast are you going? Oh, you go faster than that. And that went on, and I mean, I'm doing like 70 miles an hour, as we pass the lake road to go to our old house. But he just, again, go faster than that.
Go faster than that.
Okay, you do the time.
So when was the lake house built on Donald Lake? When was
Would have been in the 50s, I would say. Late
it's
50s. or something.
before you were born?
Yeah, 'cause
No, we were
Before
little
you were
kids.
Yeah, we were at the-
okay.
We were about
Little
6
house.
years old or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when was the cabin built?
When I was in high school.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I think I'm in the 60s.
Yeah,
Did
late
he work on that
60s.
himself, or did he have?
He had a crew come, Kenny Olson. All that, it was pre-done. He sent in for a kit.
Okay.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, I didn't
know
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Kenny Olson helped him on
Yeah.
that.
And Elwood. he did-
Elwood Leach,
yeah.
did the wiring probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yep. It was
Yeah.
the place of many fun parties.
Oh,
I think Dad had a lot of
nice,
prayer,
nice.
Yeah.
prayer meetings
It's
out
it's
there
so
for men.
sad to go down
Okay.
there now.
Oh, it
just,
is.
I know.
It's just almost
Yeah.
heartsick.
I
Yeah.
agree.
You know, the whole area
It's-
is
Yep.
sad.
It's looked a little better because
Has
Kevin
it?
died and, they sold, their house is for sale, our house is for
Oh,
sale.
Oh,
is
is it?
Yeah, so he had
I
to
would
put
like
it
to
up.
look and I'll have to
Oh.
pretend
Yeah.
I.
But there's other stuff around it
Oh,
even
yeah.
now.
Junky.
Yeah.
It's so junky.
But the cabin looks bad.
Yeah.
So I remember as a kid up on the cabin wall, there was a bunch of stuff by the fireplace there. I remember ice skates and a hockey stick. Were those Grandpa? Did he play
No,
hockey?
that was
or-
just
So just
decoration.
decorative
Right.
stuff. So
Yeah.
no fun stories.
No.
No, I think Mom
Okay.
bought those.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hang these up
Just
and
trying to think.
That's a good memory.
That's what.
it's a good
Yeah.
memory. It doesn't have any significance,
No.
but it's a good
That's
memory.
what. Yeah.
Yeah, your little details you remember.
So we know. I know some of Grandpa Lad's hobbies, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but just tell me. I don't know. Tell me. We'll talk about guns, I guess, in a minute.
I'll wait on that one.
Tell me about the gyrocopter. Tell me about this.
Oh,
We never
Infamous.
rode on it.
that was.
So was that
after we were
before?
gone. We
Oh,
were-
oh, so
already
you
gone.
were.
Yes,
Yeah.
we were gone.
Okay.
I don't even know how long he had that actually.
I
Okay.
think Mom made sure it wasn't standing too long.
Yeah.
So do you have that like out at the house?
In the garage. Yes. He was
Okay.
a busy. He
was
didn't
an
like to sit still long.
He was
Yeah.
an adventurous
He was,
person.
very
Okay.
daring.
Just had
Not afraid of
adventure with
anything.
his
Very
thing,
daring.
You know.
Yeah.
Very daring.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
had a lot of hobbies. Interested, had immense curiosity about a lot of things. And since he wasn't a graduate, I think he felt very inferior sometimes when he'd get up and read scripture
Oh,
Yeah.
because he didn't think he could
Right.
pronounce
Yeah.
things right.
Yeah.
But he
really?
was self-taught. He would read. He always had a book at home.
Mm-hmm.
Even watching a Western
Oh,
on
I can
TV,
remember,
he'd have a
yeah.
book. He'd
Yeah.
be reading about history somewhere. He told me all kinds of history stuff about the West. He loved the
Okay.
West.
So love to read.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Okay.
just
And
that's
they were
how he
planning.
learned. He was self-taught and
Okay.
had a mechanical mind. He could fix anything.
Oh, yes.
Mechanical.
So this is with the self-taught thing. This is one of the things that Amy had asked. She said, "So how did he learn how to water ski? Do you know, Gary? Was it just a
I
self-taught?
think it was just natural.
Very careful.
Just carefully. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think
No,
that-
he
a
was
natural.
very, right,
athletic.
athletic,
Okay.
and he, like I say, he was one of the first ones way before Mom and I to ski on one ski, and he would do the sprays
Yeah,
and
he would
back and
slalom.
forth. And the only thing once, I can remember when I had driven former Mom, he would say, "You have to go faster, of course." You know, so, and then there was a signal then from then to like, okay.
And when you come around the corner,
Oh,
he'd
boy.
drop off.
Yeah.
He'd drop off, and he'd run right up on the lawn.
Yeah,
he'd
'cause
drop
he
off
ca-
the ski, and
yeah,
he had so
he-
much momentum. He'd
Right,
just
he
keep
would go
going.
the other way and then and
Yeah.
drop off
Wow.
and usually jump out of his skis
Yep.
and up on the
up on the yard. Up on the yard.
He and PJ tried to teach me to water ski, but they never got the job done.
Me neither.
It wasn't
I
their
went
fault.
one time.
One
It
time.
wasn't their fault.
The only time I ever did the splits, I always wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's not
I
how
said,
you want to
oh,
do.
ouch, forget it.
I have to tell you a real quick thing.
Yeah?
About, this is about the lake, but this isn't about Dad. But Joy Cooper and I, we had taken the boat over to the island.
Okay.
And the one side of the island is you can walk way out, and the other side is drop off. It was a windy day, so we made sure. So Joy Cooper and I were walking out. We're like chest deep, and we're just talking. We hear somebody whistling. We're going, "Who's that?" And they kept whistling at us, and we're like. So we get back to the boat. The first thing we do is we put on our glasses and we look out there, and there was a fisherman. His boat was sinking. We were the nearest one to him. Didn't see him.
Oh no.
You couldn't
So,
see.
Oh,
no, so we got in the boat. I said, "We're not going home." We went clear over by the other end of the
Yeah.
things. I thought, I don't want him to see who this is. But
Embarrassed.
people on shore were going, "Why aren't they helping him? They're close to him." And, it was a wavy day, and
Yeah.
you couldn't hear. But oh my gosh, we laughed so hard.
How many houses were on the lake at that time when they first built their lake house? Do you know? I'm
Down that road, hardly any.
Okay.
See, that was all property of Grandpa Orr's farm.
Yeah.
Oh, was it
That
really?
whole Orr's Cove. And
Orr's
he
Cove.
divided it up into
Orr's
lake
Cove,
lots.
Okay.
And he gave each of his daughters one lot. Mom had one, Aunt Jean had one, and Aunt Rosemary. And
Okay.
then he sold the rest.
Yeah.
But that was just swampland, because
Yeah.
Mom and Dad would have to come in and clear that and put sand in it. Mosquitoes were really bad, and it was
yeah.
just swamp for a long
Yeah.
time.
So how much land did they own there? Like, did they own all the way up to M60? Or was it more back?
I
That would be
probably
interesting to
I
look
don't
at some
know.
older county.
It was probably part of the farm, I would say, because see, there's a farmhouse across the M60. It's
Where-
gone now. It's burned.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah,
But
okay.
that's
Where
part of
Terry
it.
had his house, was that part of your dad's? and
I
Mom's?
would think it would be. I don't know, because that wasn't
know.
even a paved road or anything. I mean,
Mhm.
it was
Right.
really like a wilderness.
Real interesting.
Yeah.
They
Huh.
owned all those lots north of the cabin.
Mhm.
Right.
Clear up to the road.
They
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was part of his farm.
So I know Grandpa Ladd liked to collect guns and things. Did he hunt?
No, he didn't.
No.
hunt.
So he didn't hunt.
Yeah.
Okay, but it was
It was antique guns. It was
Yeah.
Yes.
historical.
okay.
Kentucky.
And
Okay.
his claim to fame, like say he had one of the Jesse James's gun.
Frank James.
Frank
Or
James.
Frank James.
Frank
Oh, I
James.
better get that straight. Yeah, Frank
Yeah,
James.
Frank
Yeah,
James.
so
He's
that
the right
was.
Okay.
But we always,
Supposedly.
yeah.
Well,
You couldn't verify it because the company burnt down and all their records were gone because
Yeah,
it was
of course.
converted from a Civil War gun to a automatic or a revolver.
Okay.
And he
okay.
always had I said what do I say? Like if they left the house, there was a system,
Oh, and
Alarm
security
system or
alarm
something?
system that,
Okay.
because when you walked up to the
valuable.
house,
Mm.
with the big windows, first thing you could see was all the guns.
Well,
and that
Dad had a
wasn't
big
all of them.
pegboard
Yeah.
above his couch,
Oh
and
yeah,
there
I'll
were
have to show
guns
you. I've got a picture.
all displayed. You wouldn't do that today.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
You would hide them.
You would hide them.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
his first thing
But he
said-
enjoyed them, and
Oh,
that was a
yeah.
blessing
Yeah.
for him to be able to do that.
And he went
Yeah.
to gun shows
Yeah.
and
Okay.
displayed. He was
Yeah.
displayed,
He had
traded.
when he worked on pumps in somebody's house,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
he always asked them if they had any old guns.
Yeah.
So
He did.
Oh
And-
yeah.
when we were in the old building, he came busting into my office one day like a kid. and he had a gun in his hand.
There it is.
He said, "Look at what I found. Look at what I got. I think I know what it is, but I'm not sure."
He
He had
researched.
been working in the basement in a house in Niles, and asked the gentleman if he had any guns for sale. And the guy said, "No," he said, "but there's an old rusty something sitting over there in the corner, so you can have it if you want it."
Really?
Well, to make a long story short, he was right about what he had. It was
Gotta think.
That's all right.
what do you call them? Muzzle loader.
Oh,
It was a muzzle loader.
Oh, he loved those.
It was made.
Yeah.
It was made for the Hudson Bay Trading Company
Oh, wow.
to trade with the Indians.
Oh my.
This thing was worth about $1,000 at the time,
Really?
and I mean, I was glad he came in the Army, but he came in just like a kid who found a new toy.
Yeah.
You know, that's my thing.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah, he
thing.
loved it. And
Cool.
he loved
Yeah.
researching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Find historical things about it.
So, as far as you both remember, I mean, you always grew up going to church, right? And
Oh,
that
yes.
was just
Yep.
a part of life.
And you didn't
Yes.
stay home unless you were deathly sick.
You were okay.
Yes.
Now your grandpa Ladd was an elder of this church. Yeah. When did that happen? Do you know, or was that a?
I don't know.
Was he an elder when we came?
He was an elder when we came.
So that
Was
was
he
in
really?
I think he
'67.
was the chairman.
wow.
Was he really?
I think
okay.
so.
He was a
Okay.
Sunday school teacher. He taught,
Okay.
he taught
Boys.
boys,
Yeah.
like middle school.
Used to-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he taught Becky
Beers.
beers at
Beers.
one time.
Probably.
Yeah.
She would, yeah. She
But
would
he'd
do
always
that.
be studying his lesson on Sunday morning,
Yeah.
and he always would go out and make sure the car was washed and waxed every Sunday morning. It was always the car
Really?
was in mint condition before we went to church.
Interesting. Okay.
And as a teenager, if I borrowed the car to go into South Carolina, I had to return it, make sure it's clean. Like say if I had to run it through whatever. But you never left a car if it's dirty.
Dirty.
Um,
Well,
he just took pride in his anything he owned. He took
He took
pride
good
in.
care.
Okay.
Yeah, he took good care of anything he owned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any particular memories stick out to you with him and maybe even Grandma and here at church or the old building that just really maybe helped solidify you in your faith or
Yeah, when we
Is
built,
there-
I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
yeah, no jump.
When we built, when we're getting ready to build a new building, the church had already started a building fund before we ever came.
Mm-hmm.
But the agreement was that they would not proceed with anything until they had at least an 85%
approval.
approval.
Oh,
Okay.
Wow.
okay.
Yeah.
So every year at the annual meeting, we voted. No, we voted down. But
Okay.
the fourth year, when the congregation voted, your dad was chairman of the elders, and they counted the votes. Excuse me.
No, it's okay.
And
These are the stories I want.
he walked back up on the platform to announce it. He said, I can't hardly believe it. It's 100%.
Oh
Really?
Oh man.
Huh?
Wow.
Remember those words till
Yeah.
Wow. Totally
That's
against
just
him.
history.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how long did it take to get this building completed?
we started in
Is that a
May of 1972.
okay?
We moved in November the 26th, 1972.
Did you really?
May of what?
Wow.
What was the month?
Yeah.
May of what?
Made
May
November.
of 72.
Okay, the May to November.
November.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you told me a little bit before. You and Uncle Les meet at Cincinnati Bible
Mhm.
College.
Yep.
You.
Yep.
When did tell me your dad first meeting Uncle
Oh,
Les?
Oh, it didn't go good.
Your turn's next.
Oh,
so.
You have to ask Les that too.
Oh, okay.
I just remember I think we were dating, and then I came home for the summer, and Les was stayed in Cincinnati to work, of course.
Okay.
And he came up to visit me, and he had this old 47 car, and he drove it down the hill, because, we live down the
Yeah.
hill, and that's the first time I think Les met Dad. And then Les stayed in the cabin
Oh,
Yeah,
for,
okay.
I don't know how long he was there, but I remember Dad saying,
We
"When-
thought he
when-
went home, but he kept popping up.
I remember Dad saying, when is he going to leave?
I never heard say
Because
that.
I don't remember how long he stayed,
So
because he probably had a
funny.
job, but.
And
But
This is
you'll-
what boys do, Dad. They
Yes,
just don't
but-
leave, right?
Yeah.
They
You'll have to ask Les's perception.
Yeah.
Okay.
the other thing when she said that about Dad, I never ever heard him yell at anyone.
No,
or
he never
anything.
yelled
He was
at
very
us.
calm.
Okay.
And that's why if I got in trouble, I wanted to talk to him first, not
'cause he
Mom.
would
Yeah,
never-
it's just a little bit more
He would never
dramatic.
overreact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I told Dad where he was from Florida, and Dad goes, he was a Civil War buff. He goes, well, just remind him who won the war.
And he was kidding. I mean,
Oh, yeah, he was kidding.
But
Still,
he,
but
had,
now-
he was just
Now you can
That
say
was
it.
full of it.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Being troubled
Yeah.
out.
Yes,
My gracious.
absolutely.
Ask Les that.
Okay.
See what
Yeah.
he says.
Okay. So, what about what was Grandpa Ladd's first meeting with Dad? Do you?
I don't know if I remember that.
Remember.
I think he met him because Mike came over here. I'm not sure. Yeah, it was in this
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
He had a month off. He'd been out of the country, so he had a month off, and he was staying with Cap, and
Okay.
that's how he got come over here. But I really don't remember because I think the first Sunday or so he brought his girlfriend with him. Because
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember going up and saying hi to both of them because I thought, whatever,
Yeah,
that's
why
what
not?
I would
Yeah.
normally do. And didn't think a thing about it.
Sure.
No, seriously.
Well, yeah.
Seriously. And then, in the middle of that week, I was working at a dentist there in Elkhart. I got a call, and it just so happened, I thought, so I go, hello, this is Joy. And he goes, this is Mike Daron. And I'm at my work. I'm thinking, what is he calling me for? What
At work.
nerve? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm at work.
Yeah.
So he said, well, I'm there's a bunch of us going bowling, friends, and he said, I need another one for bowling. And I told him, I said, I'm a terrible bowler. I don't like to bowl.
Don't like to
But
fish.
he goes, that's all
No
He
right.
wasn't calling you for the ball. That's what,
I don't
got
think
news for you.
Who cares?
Well, I don't mean to, but he was engaged to this girl.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's right. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Engaged to this girl.
Makes me
Memory
more of a
lane.
villain. No. And so I just, I went with him, and that evening was okay with the kids, but I thought at the time, I thought, he's paying a lot of attention to me for an engaged person. And so that's sort of how that started. And I think his mom never forgave me because she, of course, loved that other girl.
Uh-oh.
I
Yeah.
remember you saying that.
And
too.
that's
Even after
okay.
you guys were married, she still had pictures.
Yeah, she still had
Oh.
pictures of his
Oh,
little girl.
really?
Oh, and
Your
then she'd
engagement
tell
pictures.
him when we went over at Christmas, oh, I got a Christmas card. And Mike would
Was
just
it
go,
Linda or? Yeah.
he wasn't going to talk to her. It wasn't worth saying, no,
No,
don't give it
no,
to me.
yeah.
So he would take it and put it aside.
Put it aside and give
So Larry, did you end up baptizing my dad,
I'm pretty sure I did.
or was okay?
Way back
Was
when.
Grandpa Ladd involved in that at all? I'm just, again, one of these things where I assume, and some of the stories, and one of the stories I remember my dad saying is he says, I would come home, I would visit these different churches, and again, this is my personal assumption on some of the stories, is I think there was a, morally maybe not sure exactly what he was doing, and again, that's maybe more
Yeah.
of my interpretation.
Yeah.
But I always heard my dad say it wasn't until I got to a Church of Christ that I actually had a preacher sit down and open up the Bible
Okay.
Oh.
Interesting.
and sit down and go through scriptures with me. And so, again, I don't know if you remember, but that was just something Dad said. And
Just sitting down and talking to him. I don't remember what was said. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you.
yeah.
Larry, thank you for being you.
Yeah.
Because you did the right things.
Yeah.
You said the right things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
And so, and again, as I remember him telling that story, and again, probably some of my own assumptions was that whether it was you or Grandpa Ladd, somebody was like, "Well, you need to be baptized," and he was like, "Well, let's do it." And again, I was under the impression it kind of happened then. I don't know if it happened on a Sunday morning or something. I don't know, but that's going back a long,
Yeah.
long ways.
I'll look in my
But-
book.
Okay, all right.
I'll look in my book.
All right. So you bring these two guys into the family, right?
right?
And so when did Grandpa Ladd go for his heart surgery? When?
Oh.
He had a heart attack in May, and
Yes,
I
because
don't
I can
forget.
remember Mom calling me when we
Yes.
were down. Yeah.
Oh.
And we
Okay.
were living in Georgia, I think, then.
Did he know that he had heart
No,
I don't think
problems?
so. Back
No.
then, you didn't screen
didn't-
people.
yeah.
Yeah.
He
Just
had heart surgery in 1975.
75.
okay.
He always had it. He had a slip disc. He had back problems. And he had a slip
Okay.
disc and a lot of pain in one of his legs. I remember that.
But what was his purpose then in going to, if he didn't know he had heart problems? To
Well, but he had a heart attack. you
No.
He had
said,
had a
right?
heart attack that was, I mean, that
Okay.
he recovered from. And then
Yes.
they said, you
Okay.
need to have this
I almost forgot
bypass
about that, but
surgery.
that's right.
Yeah.
I
he
remember
did.
it was around the
Yeah.
anniversary.
Yeah.
This
He went to Cleveland.
picture.
Yes,
Cleveland,
right.
yeah.
He went to
Yeah.
Cleveland Clinic.
Yeah.
That
It was. He was
best
on their
place.
anniversary.
That he
Or-
he was in the hospital during their anniversary in May because I remember a picture we have somewhere where Mom's sitting by him in the hospital bed.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that, I mean, back then they didn't have all that technology to
Sure.
look and see what, but he always had a high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Being
Yeah,
in the
I get
business.
that. Yeah.
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 We have it. It's
Yeah.
hereditary.
Genetics. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have high blood pressure? Do you really?
Just borderline.
Well,
And mine is too. It's
Yeah.
Just,
Mine's
it's,
not.
it's,
And yours
I
is
wonder
high.
why. Yours is probably sky high.
Could be.
Prayers and pills. Yeah.
Oh my gracious.
But it was a
We prayed
business,
for
I
him,
think.
that's
It was
a lot of
Yeah.
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 A lot of pressure.
We went to Cleveland
Yes,
with
you
them,
did.
and so did Ken and Jean.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we were all there
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
came in and said
And the boys'
that he had passed.
Les and Mike stayed back. And I
Oh,
don't
they
remember
did.
why. They
Yeah.
weren't there.
Okay.
I don't-
But what was so I thought very cool when Dad died, Ed Ellis and Bill Ellis came over and sat with Mike and Les at our
Oh,
house
sweet.
until we all got back from the Cleveland Clinic. I'll never
my.
forget
Oh,
that.
Gabe.
Did they
Well,
really?
sure you
I'll
would.
never forget. I just
Yeah.
thought that was such
Yeah.
wonderful. Who would have thought to
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
But I
They
just
did.
thought that I
God,
always
thank
appreciated
you.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember having walked out in the hall. We were
I
all
remember you
together
saying this.
in this room. And I walked out in the hall. And this Dr. Taylor came down the hall shaking
Shaking his
head.
head, I remember that like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah.
he didn't make it.
I do
Mhm.
remember
And out of four or five who went in for that surgery, Dad was the only one who did not make it.
that day.
Yeah. So, yeah, nowadays he might have.
He might
He
have.
might
Dr.
have.
Taylor said they took him off the, is it the ventilator?
Mm-hmm, probably.
And when he took him off the ventilator, his heart wouldn't do its own work.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the other thing I thought maybe was said later or whatever, but my dad, out of those four men or whatever, he might have been the only one that was in a safe condition. to
Well,
meet-
that
Yeah.
could very
to
well
meet
have
the
been.
Lord.
Wow.
You know, where the
Could
other
very
ones
well been.
weren't.
There was no
Yeah.
doubt
Sure.
about where he was.
Right,
True.
exactly.
You know, as far as that was concerned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How did the church grapple with that?
You just move on.
But,
What
but
can you do?
Yeah, we did. I mean, you know you have to move on.
yeah,
And, you know, I had to grapple with it like everybody else did.
yeah,
What are we gonna do? But I just, the Lord's got someone else.
yeah.
He always does. When
Yeah.
Sure.
somebody goes, he always has somebody
Mhm.
else.
Yeah.
I
And
remember
don't
you did the
remember-
funeral service.
Pardon?
I
Go ahead.
remember you did the funeral for Dad.
Yeah, and I think it was Paul was the one that stepped up after your dad. That, at least that's what I remember.
Mm.
To be an elder or to be.
He's the one that called us
Spiritually,
down.
yeah.
We were in Georgia, and he called us and talked to Les when
Okay.
Dad first had his heart
Oh.
attack and said, "I need to talk to Les."
Oh,
And Les goes,
Well,
"Okay."
we each took some names of people to call,
Uh huh.
and I had to call your Uncle Wilbur
oh,
did
in
you?
Florida.
Oh.
There wasn't
Hmm.
a matter of minutes, but when I called your Uncle Wilbur, he already knew it.
Or did he?
Somebody called him
oh,
ahead of me.
okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Didn't know that.
The only thing I remember about Ladwell that I think about is that he financed the record that
Oh,
we
yeah.
need as
Oh.
a trio.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So he had faith in our singing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll do that, and then we reambushed him as we sold
Yeah.
some.
Okay.
I still have some to
I
sell if
still
I
have
ever.
some. I still have some too, Joe. But I love having Mom's
Yeah.
voice on there.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
yes,
goodness.
yes. She had a beautiful voice. There's
And
no
yours
doubt.
too.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you
No,
three
she
had
did.
wonderful
Beautiful
blend.
We-
I
we
mean,
did have a
unusual.
decent blend.
too.
Jubilee Trio.
So how old was Grandpa Lad when he passed away then? Was he-
49.
So he was just 49.
Just 49, yeah.
And that was in 75.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and then Grandma got remarried in '84.
Yeah, something like that.
83, 84, somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did she meet Grandpa Bud?
At the church out west.
Just
Huge
okay.
church.
Yeah, her
Just-
huge church.
What
Yeah.
about
Okay.
5,000?
It was probably a singles group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he'd been kind of retired from the racing
Yes.
world at that point
Well,
and
pretty
stuff.
much.
He
Or-
was, but that year, I think it was after they got married, he was called in to help
Right,
racing
he
because
did.
that's where I met
I,
him.
I have a very vague childhood memory, and I don't know what racetrack it was, but we were, and I don't know if I had earmuffs or I don't know, but I mean, I remember being.
We went
I
to
think-
Indianapolis once.
That's
Right.
probably what it was.
That's
I
And
was
I-
probably, I don't know if I was 4.
I don't remember. I mean, we
5,
couldn't walk down a thing, but I think Mike took you closer
Oh,
to him.
yeah,
But
okay.
Rod
Yeah,
had
by
been
the
called
pit.
out of,
Yeah.
retired,
Okay.
and someone wanted him for the
Okay.
take
Crew
care-
chief or
Yeah,
whatever.
crew chief.
Okay.
Is
That's what it was, crew
Yeah.
chief. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
Yes.
that-
And then so, yeah, and then what year was that Grandpa Bud passed?
Boy, we just looked at this up.
I know, was that 9?
'Cause Mom
I was
and-
a freshman, I think, in high school, so
Oh,
then
were
probably
you?
92.
Because they were married about 10 years before
Yeah.
he passed.
And he
Okay.
passed away at our house.
Yeah.
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 And he was
And
only
it-
60, right?
60, I
Oh,
think.
was
60,
he? I don't
maybe.
remember.
Well,
I don't remember his.
Or was he a little bit older than
Yeah, he was
Nancy?
older than Mom.
So
Maybe
maybe he
2
was.
years.
Maybe I'd have to check that out.
Because Grandma would have been 60,
No.
Okay.
I think, when he
Over
passed, right? That
60.
she was widowed twice. I think she was widowed twice.
That could be Justin.
By the time
Um,
she was 60.
I'd have
Because
to
I,
go look it
like I
up.
said,
That's
I'm
o- that's
forgetting,
okay. I'm
I'm
just-
forgetting, because did I tell you about when he died at our house? I
Yeah.
already told you
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah,
say,
you
Mike
did.
was so mad at me that.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention too, when my dad died, I was expecting Lad.
Were you?
And Dad,
Okay.
we had just told Dad
Yeah.
on his birthday in January
He
that
was
he was
so-
going to have a grandbaby.
Grandson.
Yeah.
Because he kept pushing us. We've been
Yeah.
married for 4 years.
Yeah.
He kept saying, when are you going to get
Yeah,
a grandkid?
he did. Yeah.
And so we had told him, and I have that tape. I don't know if I have it up, his reaction on a little cassette
Oh.
tape.
Do you really?
But
Oh.
Justin, I have no idea if I
Oh,
still
yeah.
have it. And then he died like a month or so later.
Did he know you were gonna? Did you know it was gonna be a boy?
No, I
and
had
he
no
didn't have
idea, but I
any
remember crying on the way home from something I told Les. If we have a boy, can I name him Lad?
And Les fell for it.
Yes.
Well, it's a perfect name.
Yeah.
We were on vacation.
Oh.
She was
I
carrying Lad.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got home, I remember you said, I waited till you got home to have Lad.
Yes.
To have the baby.
Oh.
And I think we stopped home from the hospital at your house
I
there,
think
and
you
Lad
did.
was laying on my
Yep.
lap
Oh.
Yep.
because there was no car seats.
Yeah, right. He was
I
living
said-
dangerously.
And I said, "Here's the baby." So we
Here's a
stopped
new-
over there in the parsonage,
Oh,
and Lad
new
was on my
Lad.
lap.
Aw.
Okay.
First, Larry to see him, and Joyce.
When was Grandpa Lad's birthday?
January 25th.
So 20. Okay,
January
January
25th.
20.
And he died February. Oh, I'd have to look. 17th. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Oh, was
It
it
was
really?
around
Okay.
Kenny Olson's birthday.
Pardon?
He
was
died
it-
around Kenny Olson's birthday.
I don't
which
remember
I
the
have
don't
to
birthday.
look.
No.
His dates.
1975.
I should have had a little more research done.
No, that's okay.
Gracious.
Need to ask some better questions.
No, but dates
Uh,
just don't.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. Larry? What's one thing that sticks out to you about Lad's faith? I guess is there a particular memory or just something in general that?
Well, nothing specifically except he was solid as rock in his faith. I mean, it wasn't this way or that way. It was it was right down the middle, the way the Lord wanted it.
Yeah.
He always gave glory to God, and they well, this didn't have anything to do with his faith, but maybe it did. But Lad and Nancy always treated us like their own kids, kind of, because now where was I going with that? Oh, when they gave us, no, they didn't give it to us. When they sold us the lot out to the lake, your dad said, Larry, here's all these lots. He said, you take any one of them you want. $500, no interest, and pay me when you can.
Really?
So that's the way we bought it.
Huh.
But where I was going with that was, I remember him saying, "We want you to have some of the things we have." I mean, that's, no, he, and I'll back up on that. He was always a witness to the people that worked for him.
Mm-hmm.
He, I mean, if you worked for Ladd, you heard about the Lord. I mean, you
Tom
didn't-
Mosier, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
Tom was one.
Tom's been on my mind lately. I just want to
Yeah.
stop in and
Mhm.
say hi, and I don't think
You
I've
get
ever
kind of
been rid of it.
emotional. Yeah.
But I want to say, you know, talk to him and say, you know what, I have to, my dad would want me to say this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
doing
Well,
that.
Tom was baptized, but he's never,
Yeah.
Never
he's
really.
never
Yeah.
been,
Yeah.
never walked with the Lord.
Right.
He's always been kind. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah, he is.
Sure,
He's
Yeah,
sure.
sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like Ladd was. He's got the cleanest well rigs and cast
Yes, he
down.
does.
Yeah.
He learned from my dad.
Yeah, he did
Oh,
learn
that
from
was-
him.
That was a son Dad
So
never
did,
had.
did
Yeah.
he end up
Yeah.
taking over the business then from
No.
Grandpa?
Not
or
right
no,
then.
no,
He
okay,
started his
no.
own.
He started his own.
He
Yeah.
started his own business.
Yeah.
So what happened? Sorry, I'm like totally switching
All
gears
right.
here, we're all over the place. So what happened with the business after he passed away then?
Well, Uncle Wilbur got it.
So okay,
Uncle Gene was already gone.
okay,
died.
that's
Yeah,
right.
he
Yeah, the
died.
accident.
And I don't understand. They hired somebody in there to do the books, and it just it did not go good.
No.
Okay.
So it kind of went downhill.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nobody ended up taking it over or
No,
anything?
no,
Okay.
no generation
No,
after that.
okay.
It's done.
It was
Okay.
over with. 100 years. It'd been in the family.
It carried on through
Tom.
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah,
Okay.
eventually,
Yeah.
because he bought some of Dad's rigs.
He did.
eventually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All
With
right.
equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's kind of sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
But when I see Tom's, I think of your dad. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I'm glad.
So it did carry on
It
in another
did,
sense
yeah.
of the word.
Nice legacy.
Any other stories that you would want your kids or your grandkids to know that, again, just through technology, will hopefully be on a server somewhere in Facebook land or YouTube world or whatever?
I remember Dad being very generous to anybody.
Okay,
Oh,
he
he
was.
was.
Less fortunate, just very generous.
Okay.
We heard things about him after he died. I mean, someone just, and it might be a month later, a year later, said, you know, your dad, he stopped by and
And it wasn't
Yeah.
showy, it was very
Oh,
No,
yeah,
and
sure,
he,
sure.
he
Yeah.
never came home when we always had supper together, but he never discussed that in front of Gay and I.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even it being young, because you think, oh yeah, my dad gave, you know, that
Right.
was quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
And
know that.
don't let the left hand.
Yeah, no, that's, please.
Go ahead.
He would very often hand me $100 bill and say, see that so-and-so gets this, and don't say
Oh.
Yeah.
where it was from.
Oh.
The second thing was, if he was anywhere near, he always went home to lunch.
He always
you're
did.
right.
Always went home
To get away from the business
Yeah.
part
Yep.
of it.
Did he?
And he always
Okay.
took a nap.
Always respected for that.
He took it
where-
because he was exhausted. I mean, he just took a 20-minute nap after
Mhm.
Mama had lunch for him. He took a
Huh.
20-minute, and then he was ready to go back
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
He needed that away from the stress
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
business. It was very stressful. But I remember him at breakfast. He would tell Sunday school stories to us.
Oh,
I remember Joseph. That story, I think that was one of his favorite stories.
Yeah, I think so
But he
too.
would tell a story about Joseph and just, yeah, just
Yeah.
good memory.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for
Oh,
Thank you
sharing
for
the
asking
memories.
us.
And yeah,
Yeah,
no
it's
problem.
kinda
What
cool.
else do you want to know?
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
I think that's good at least. You know,
Yeah.
it just like I said, being at the graduation party last weekend,
Mhm.
it just
Made you think about it.
you do. You
Yeah.
like I said, Chris and I on our way home. She says, "Man, there's just not too many people that know many of those stories."
Mhm.
You'll have to ask Les. We
So-
have a few of the guns that we saved, and
Okay.
we just made an inventory of a few of them.
Okay.
But the last Christmas Dad was alive, he had a 22 in a box, a 22 rifle Winchester.
Yeah.
And Reggie Olson made the beautiful wooden box,
Mhm.
and it
Okay.
was engraved with our names on it.
I got one.
And that
Yeah.
was, we each got
Yeah.
one, and that was the last Christmas gift
Oh,
that we
wow.
had.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Um,
Each
yeah.
had
Cool.
Wonder what happened to the one that
I was going to, Les would know if we sold it, because we went to gun shows after Dad died
Okay.
to get rid of some of the collection.
Okay, yeah.
And Les would know if we sold it or
Yeah.
not.
You'll
Yeah.
be getting my big.
Okay.
I showed that to Ken. And I think that's the only thing he went,
Oh, wow.
wow.
She comes with something.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Her doll ring.
She doesn't have a home, she lost her job, but she's got a gun.
When we were
Have
still-
gun, we'll
We were
marry.
still at Vandalia. I mean, he and I talked guns because, and I just, I'd always wanted an over and under shotgun.
Mm.
And he showed up at church one day, and he had this over and under shotgun. He said, found this in Edwardsburg. Said a lady had it. Said she had an inch sawed off the stock, but I got the piece she had sawed off the stock. And he said, I gave her $100 for it. He said, you can have it for $100. Pay me when you can.
Oh.
I've still got it.
Oh.
I've still got it.
Dad was into repairing, and he also had those machines in the garage. He was always in the garage tinkering, but would make his own bullets. You know, you'd melt the
Oh,
thing and
yeah.
have the little machine
Load
come
the
down and
shells,
yeah.
load the shells. He was
Yeah.
into that
Yeah.
a lot.
Oh my goodness.
Used to ride his motorcycle.
He loved motorcycles.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Uncle Wilbur could tell you many stories about. I remember he had an accident before Mom
Got
was
pictures of
married,
him with both
and he
his-
broke both wrists.
Yeah.
Going over the handlebars
Oh,
before he
Yeah,
and Mom
I've
were
got a picture
married.
of that somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was daredevil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of the three boys,
Of the- yeah,
he was
okay.
the worst
After
one.
he had his first heart attack,
Mm-hmm.
he had this Honda, 750 Honda.
Oh yeah.
And he was just going out the garage and look at it.
Oh, boy.
Nancy said, lad, you stay out of the garage and leave the motorcycle alone. I'm just going out and look at it and start it. That's not how, first thing, he's riding it up and down the road.
course.
This is after his heart attack.
Oh,
This
my.
is first time. Yeah. And I rode with him, we rode double on the
Oh, yeah.
motorcycle
Yeah.
up to Ball Hill.
Oh boy.
Our
One
favorite
time.
place.
yeah.
Now that was a thrill. We only dumped it once.
Yeah, that's half the fun. Yeah.
But we both got up laughing. I mean, it was fun.
You know, I don't
It
think
was
Dad
fun.
told Gay and I about that because that would have, marred his
Yeah.
how he
Well,
looked.
we went up to Ball Hill a lot. And
Yeah.
Well, this
sometimes
was not a dirt bike,
Yeah, right.
and
You get in that
But
soft
he
dirt.
drove-
and we're not riding on paved roads.
Yeah.
We're riding at Ball Hill.
That's true.
Oh,
And
my
we
goodness.
would we get in
Fun.
that sand and you would fishtail and
Yeah.
you'd say jump,
Yeah.
get off, jump.
I think I remember Mom saying that I probably said that too, but that he lived more in that short lifetime than some people that lived to 100. I mean, he was
Exactly.
just
He
fast
Exactly.
track. He
packed it in.
wasn't afraid of anything.
He liked to go on
Yeah.
vacation in February. Took 3 weeks off and we'd go on a vacation,
Yeah.
family vacation.
Where would you guys go on vacation?
Florida, Texas, a lot in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Went
Oh,
out
really?
west one time
Yeah.
with an RV, or Grandpa or Uncle
Did-
Wilbur had one.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
Went
Okay.
to see a cousin out there, and he loved the West.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
he
like
wanted
the
to
West,
be.
yeah.
Yeah, if he could have gone back to any time frame, it would have been the
Yeah.
Old West.
Okay.
And of course, he had plenty of guns. For
Yeah.
it, so-
Yeah.
And he got us a go-kart a few
Oh, yeah.
years. I remember
Nice.
that we had that road, where you ride it, and he'd say, now you can only ride it so many minutes because we don't want to bother the neighbors
Oh,
with the
yeah,
noise.
yeah.
And I remember coming home from college, looking for that go-kart, and Dad goes, oh, I gave it to Blaine. So
That's
what?
Yeah, Gay and I weren't very happy about that.
you're too old to ride a go-kart. I was so disappointed.
I didn't know that.
I didn't remember
Well,
that.
Blaine got it.
Well, I got to tell a story on her, and she can slap me because I
Uh-oh.
probably deserve. But
Yeah.
with the go kart, Dad took me out where I knew how to take off the thing and fix it all.
Okay.
You didn't put it back in dirty. You had to because we
Oh,
were a
yeah.
dirt road. But anyway, so I started it, and Gay took off, and it's still a dirt road. But I loosened the I don't know if it was some type of a key. So halfway down, it stopped,
Okay.
and she's yelling, Julie, I can't get it. And so I was terrible. It's one she didn't
She
smack
was.
me. Yeah, getting
True
under
story.
her bed when she's
Getting under my dressing table,
Yeah.
she'd be hiding right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I did that, because I messed. Dad showed me this is how you clean this, so you don't bother me.
Yeah.
And I'm out in the lake, and so I did. I didn't mind doing it, but
Yeah.
I did pull that on her. I
Oh,
think
I don't
just
remember
once.
that.
Oh.
Yeah, I loosened that thing. By the time you jiggled on the dirt road, you were way up there, and it stopped working.
I'll be dog.
I know.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she was very kind to me.
Smart, yes.
Was she and Bonnie
Yeah,
had this
join
party
her.
at our house one night when we lived in Vandalia. And all of a sudden, all these boys start showing up.
That would be Bonnie doing that.
Oh, I bet it was.
Just Bonnie?
Bonnie's
Okay.
not here to talk first.
Yeah, she can.
Anyway,
Yeah.
about midnight, I called a halt to it. And, but I remember Lad wasn't happy with Joy.
Oh, no.
For,
No.
for that, but I wasn't happy with Bonnie either.
Yeah.
He was,
It's
he
just
thought
part
about,
of, just part of
and
growing up.
yeah, just the building things. I mean, he had a good mind, and he built this unique pier out in the lake. It was 3 sections of a pier going, and they built on pipes a diving board off of it, a triangle.
Oh.
And it was unique. It was on big tubs, so it would
Oh,
float.
it was cool.
Right over the drop off.
Yeah.
So you would go and you climb up the steps to the high dive,
Yeah.
and you jump off or dive off.
And
And it was just so unusual. I've never seen anybody build anything like
It
that.
had 3 corners,
Yeah.
and then the dive thing
It
was
was a triangle.
triangle.
Yeah.
And so you could, and we had to put no trespassing because of course everyone came
Yeah,
out
it
in
was out
summer,
there. Yeah.
and you're
That
liable.
was very unique.
Yeah,
He
it was.
built that by himself.
Yeah,
and-
just no plans, just
Just-
out tinkering in his
Yeah.
garage, and
Throw something together.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, cool.
Busy man.
yeah, he
Busy
was.
man.
He, it's like he knew he was going to die young.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
I had to get it all done.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, really,
Yeah.
he just
Yeah.
soon flew
He had a
away.
lot of plans to do things.
Yeah.
Mm.
Before my mother died, and this doesn't have anything to do with this, but it's the same kind of thing. Before my mother died, we all read a story out of a book and put it on tape. So,
Oh.
wasn't that how it was?
Yeah. We taped it and then gave the books as a Christmas gift. And
Oh,
Like a story.
my
of-
mother read one story, his mother read one story, and they had the stack of books that went with those stories in the
precious.
tape.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
Yeah.
I read one, he
Like
read
a
one.
story of what? Of one of their.
Well, it would be
memories?
just a storybook.
Just
Oh,
a
just a
story.
A
regular-
storybook,
Oh, I
and
see.
then we gave them the storybooks, and they had the tape that went with it.
With
So,
the voice.
And well, all the little they have them, but I don't know
That's
what they did with
nice.
them.
What they did with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
all for sharing. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh,
Appreciate
it's
it.
awesome.
Yeah,
It's a
it was
great
fun.
idea.
Enjoyed
Little
it.
trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
Big trip.
So, but yeah, again, be sharing this with obviously your
Okay.
kids and
Yeah.
the grandkids someday, and just
Who knows?
appreciate. Yeah, who knows, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
who knows?
Who
Yeah.
knows?
Who knows?
Who
Yeah.
knows?
So,
Yeah.
so thank you.
You're very
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you for that.